Well, a ceasefire in Lebanon supposedly came into effect on Friday afternoon, but Lebanese state media now say 5 people were killed in Israeli strikes on the south of the country overnight. That follows authorities on Friday saying a drone strike in the south killed 2. And in the very first hour of the ceasefire, Reuters reported a dozen Israeli strikes, citing Lebanese sources. We got the latest from Renee Davis in Beirut. Well, I'm afraid we don't have that for you, but we'll move on. It looks like talks in Switzerland between the US and Iran are happening after all. The two signed a memorandum earlier this week to stop the war, with implementation yet to be ironed out. Envoy Steve Witkoff has flown out to join President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. They'll meet with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. And for more on all of this, we're joined by Yossi Mekelberg, Senior Consulting Fellow at Chatham House in London. Thanks for joining us, Yossi. Good to have you on.
Good morning.
So what's Israel thinking by, saying it's part of the ceasefire, then continuing to drop bombs?
So I think it's a combination of two things, at least. One, it's habitual behavior. When ceasefire is declared, one of the two sides want to show that they are the last one to being capable of saying the last word. So this is probably one of these until someone from the outside intervenes and ensure that this stops. But the other thing is, I think in this case, it's obviously Israel is completely unhappy with the MOU and the agreement that probably is discussed right now, will be discussed in this next 60 days. They think that they won't get anything of what they set themselves in this war. So it's also a messaging that whatever happens, there is an unresolved issue, especially in Lebanon, probably in Iran too, and they will continue to do what they think is right for Israel. It is sort of a declaration of independence, how they operate militarily, but it can also backfire.
Yeah, I mean, they're running a huge risk here, right? I mean, Donald Trump really cares about this peace deal. Is Israel close to losing him if they keep this up?
I think definitely they do. I think what Donald Trump cares is he cares mainly about the Strait of Hormuz. He wants to stop the war. This is a very Trump thing. He together with Israel start a war that couldn't achieve the objective they set themselves from the beginning, had no political horizon, no strategy, exit strategy, and all of this, and then it stopped the war abruptly. So now he wants, for him, the most important thing is to ease the domestic pressure and the international pressure when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz. Israel, also because this is the election time, and Netanyahu probably ask himself, what can I show to the voters? Probably not much. And we are 2-3 months before election, and as a result, he would like to continue because himself has no strategy in Lebanon, for instance, of moving and negotiated with the Lebanese government. So their interests don't diverge, and I think yes, Netanyahu is running a serious risk of clashing with Washington.
And our correspondent earlier, Noga Tarnopolsky in Jerusalem, mentioned the scheduled talks in Washington between Israel and Lebanon. Of course, two sides that never used to talk. It has been a historic rapprochement, at least somewhat, but is that now at risk as well?
I think that's at risk as long as Israel keep this massive bombardment, as long as civilians are killed, because it's not only Hezbollah militants that are killed or the Hezbollah targets, the civilians are killed. It makes it much more difficult for any Lebanese government to negotiate. And I think that's where Israel miscalculates, maybe deliberately, maybe not. But if it wants actually to progress in negotiation with the Lebanese government, and there is a commonality of interest for both of them, A, to weaken Hezbollah, B, to bring this war to an end and ensure the security and safety of people on both sides of the border, Israel should ease off the intensity of the bombardment inside Lebanon.
Now, it was a matter of weeks ago when Israel and the US were talking about regime change in Iran. That seemed to be what potentially would win Netanyahu that election you were talking about. That objective is looking like almost a joke now. It's just not going to happen.
It was a pie in the sky to begin with. I think both sides, whoever it was behind this idea, misunderstood Iran. They thought that by killing the supreme leader Ali Khamenei, there will be regime change. The regime is too resilient for this. By killing a single leader or even a group of leaders to end the regime. Regime change, if it's one that is long term and radical change within Iran, will have to come from within, supporting those within Iran, and we saw many of them only a few months ago to going to the streets. The idea that you lead to a regime change that also serves what they see as their interest was never on the cards. And now they have to face not only the consequences, there is no regime change, it's a regime that feels emboldened by being resilient and facing two such major powers, and by the ability to bring them on their knees because of the managed quite easily to close the Strait of Hormuz and cause such a crisis in the international economy.
And looking through the different points of this memorandum, it looks like a list of boons for Iran. I mean, could we say that they've perhaps won not only this battle, but this war?
I don't think anyone wins this kind of wars because the hit that Iran suffered is severe. But they definitely feel that they have the upper hand in this conflict by the end of this conflict, and they will try to maximize ensuring that the regime survive long term. I think it's obvious at the expense of their own people, because I think it will become even a more repressive regime at the expense of the security and stability of the region. And the question is whether what we think, the removing of the sanction, 300 billion funds going into this, is going to be used in order to improve, for instance, the energy security, the energy infrastructure in Iran, improve economic conditions, or exactly the opposite. It will make this regime much stronger in the long term without any improvement, in the conditions of the Iranian people, B, in the readiness of Iran to be part or integrate more in the region. But this needs a wider conversation, not only with the United States, not a rushed one, but also with the region.
Yossi Mekelberg from Chatham House in London, thank you very much for joining us on France 24.